Morning, everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Kathleen. I am the children's pastor here. I'm so excited to get to just share a little bit with you guys before we dive into serving today. So who here likes to be comfy? Anybody like to be comfy? Yeah. I love being comfy. I love being comfortable, and I love wearing clothes that I am comfortable in. When I get home from the day, I immediately I change into the comfiest clothes I can and get on my very comfy couch under my very comfy blanket. Like, I just love being comfy. Now, my husband and I, Mike and I, we have a very cute and adorable dog named Doug. Aww. I will take any excuse to share a little picture of him. We've had him for about 5 years. We love him. But I have this particular pair of leggings that I like to wear. They're athletic leggings. And for some reason, when I put on these leggings, something signals to Doug that we are going to go and do something really exciting. He thinks we're going to go on a hike or a walk. I can say the word walk to you guys, because when I say the word walk to him, he's like, walk! So we're going to do some sort of outdoor activity, right? In his mind, this is what we're doing. We're going to go on a hike into a forest. Into a forest? This is what we're doing, right? He's like, we are going adventuring, and he's super excited. He gets worked up, and he starts barking and running around, very excited, because this is what he thinks we're about to do. In my mind, when I put on these leggings, this is what I want to do. I want to be comfy on my couch. I want to be comfy on my couch. Almost every time I put on these leggings, my intent is not to sweat or work out. They're supposed to be used for athletic purposes, but I like to use them as like athleisure. If you don't know what that is, that just means athletic clothes worn for leisure. So then I have to disappoint his cute little face and be like, no, we're not going anywhere. Like, I just want to be snuggly on the couch. And he eventually concedes, and we'll snuggle on the couch. But when this happened the other day, I just started thinking about the signals that we send, and it made me think about serving. And we're currently in the middle of this series. We're talking about how God is making all things new, how we are working through God's power to bring heaven to earth. And one of the ways that we do this and show God's love in our lives and to others is through serving. Because sometimes when we put on this label, Christian, we are signaling to people something. We are calling ourselves something, identifying with Christ. But the question is, what do other people see being signaled? Because I think sometimes in our world, in our culture, particularly here in the United States and in the Northeast, there's a question mark after what are we signaling, right? Does the word Christian signal a servant, someone who cares and loves, someone who takes care of the other and stands up for what is right? Or is it signaling something else? Because I think that's what's happening with Doug and I. I put on my leggings to be comfortable, to stay in my comfort zone. But to him, he thought we were going to go out and we were going to do something. And Jesus, he makes it very clear that we as followers of Jesus are supposed to step outside of what's comfortable, out of our comfort zone, in order to serve. And if you aren't a Christian or a follower of Jesus here today, if you're questioning, first, welcome. I'm glad that you are here. Second, I hope that from this message that you would hear more of what Jesus' heart is for being a follower of Jesus, which we're going to see in today's passage. So I want to take a look at this passage in the book of John together to see Jesus be an example of serving and leading outside of the comfort zone, outside of the norm. And so my friend Claire is going to come up and read part of the passage for us. Before she does, just a little context. So Jesus, he's sitting at a meal with his 12 disciples, right? It's days, if not hours, before he's going to perform the ultimate act of servanthood by dying on the cross. So he's sitting around with his disciples, and this is what he does. Would you read the passage for us, Claire?
It was
There you go.
It was just before Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you. So Jesus, one of his final acts of service to his disciples is washing their feet. And I'd actually like to demonstrate what that looks like right now. I need one of my TK kids who would love to have their feet washed right now. Would one of my TK kids like to have their feet washed? Well, you could take off your shoes and your socks. Thank you. So, roll up we don't want to get your sweats wet. There you go. So in Jesus' time, you can put your foot in very gently. There you go. In Jesus' time, this is actually something that would be performed by the lowliest servant. The lowliest servant in the household would wash the feet. Can I have your foot up? There you go. They'd wash the feet because our feet aren't so gross right now because we wear shoes. Does that tickle? No. Okay. Our feet, they aren't so gross right now. Will, his feet are actually very nice because he wore shoes and socks. Dip your foot in. There you go. Right? But in Jesus' time, they were walking around. They didn't bathe as often as we do. They didn't shower as often as we do. They were walking around in sandals with dusty feet, getting really, their feet were pretty gross. So this was something that a servant would do. Foot. There you go. Was I didn't know I was getting a pedicure today at church. Oh, there you go. Other foot. Are you having a good time? Yeah. It's funny. So their feet were dirty, so it was not the action of a leader to get down on their knees and wash someone's feet like this. And what was happening, the disciples were confused. Are you confused?
Yes.
Yeah. They were very confused. Foot. Low bubble bath. It's a superfruit complex, so they were confused. They didn't understand. They actually would have expected, they would have been excited to wash Jesus' feet. Would you be excited to wash my feet?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. They would have expected to wash Jesus' feet. That was their expectation. They would have been honored to do it, but instead, Jesus, he said, no, I'm going to wash your feet. They had this understanding that a leader was someone who was served, not one who served. Foot. Thank you. There you go. Do your feet feel clean now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Will. Wonderful. So it was confusing. They didn't understand. Their feet were gross. They didn't get it. Peter, who was there, one of the disciples, he was like, I don't understand, Jesus, what's going on? Let me wash your feet. And Jesus said, no, let me do this thing. So I'm going to have Max come up and read the next part of the passage, what Jesus said after he finished washing everyone's feet.
When Jesus had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. Do you understand what I've done for you? He asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet. You also should wash one another's feet. I have sent to you an example that you should do I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him.
Thank you. Good job. So, Jesus, having washed all of their feet, points out what I was saying earlier. It was backwards for the teacher or for Jesus as Lord to do something so humbling as washing someone's feet. It didn't fit in with their view of how things should be. In fact, to them in their ancient Near Eastern culture, being humbled like that was a sign of weakness. A leader who was humble was a weak leader. So for a leader to humble themselves was something they never would have expected. But Jesus was leveling the playing field. That's what he came to do. He said, no one is better than anyone else. And not only that, but that the example should be that we are serving others in this way. Right? Jesus served his disciples in a very unexpected way, in a way that was kind and loving and outside of what was normal or comfortable. It's not normal for me to get up on the stage and wash someone's feet. It's weird. Right? But Jesus, he calls us to do things that are outside of what's comfortable. And Jesus wanted his disciples to be serving others in different and amazing ways, and they went on to do that. They went on to serve and heal and love others in incredible ways throughout the rest of their lives. In fact, all the way to the end of their lives. And this is what Jesus is asking us to do when we serve. Serving should push and stretch and grow you out of your comfort zone. And I'm not saying necessarily serve outside of like what you're good at, right? I am horrible at drawing, right? My TK kids can attest that my drawings are horrible. So I would not be serving anyone by drawing a beautiful picture or painting something. It usually looks like I've done a finger painting. It's not great, right? But serving should require something of you. It should require your time, your talents, or even giving of the things that you have, like our food or our money or whatever it might be. Because for the renewal of all things, for us to bring heaven down to earth, it requires allowing God to work through us to bring love and justice and care to the people around us. And renewal almost never happens when we are comfortable. So serving today is great. I'm so excited to serve today, and I'm so glad that we are going to do that together. But I think my question is, what happens after today? How are we serving in our everyday lives beyond this? How is today going to spark something in you? Right? How do we model serving together as individuals, as families, and as the larger body of Christ? How do we serve in our schools, at work, on our teams, in our friend groups? How are we showing the love of Jesus in those ways? And I know that this couch looks really nice and comfy. It does to me. I don't like leaving my comfort zone. But God is asking us to go beyond. He's asking us to make the name Christian mean something. To be a people who are willing to go above and beyond. And if we're going to wear the label, if we're going to call ourselves Christians, if we're going to call ourselves followers of Jesus, if we're really going to believe that Jesus meant every word he said and came for us and to change the whole world, flipping everything upside down, I think we ought to give the left a try. I think we ought to give the forest, the path, the out of our comfort zone a try. But you know what the best part is? We're not doing it alone. We're not doing it out of our own power. Jesus asks us to do this. And he knows leaving our comfort zone is hard. That's why he modeled it, and he made the ultimate sacrifice to die and rise again so that everything could be made new, so that everything could be redeemed. And as we take communion together today, that's what we look towards. Leaning into the strength of the Holy Spirit to show us how to live this all out and serve others in our everyday life.